So far, I'm a one-woman show and it's going great. I've learned a lot. That's my personality type, though. Even if I were to outsource something, I want to learn it first. I want to understand how it functions. Um, you know, being a leader before, there's a lot of merit to understanding what an employee is experiencing in their job. So if ever I were to outsource or to hire someone on, I want to make sure I have a full grasp of what it is that they're experiencing because I've at least, navigated it once before. As far as like filling the calendar, I've also embraced, I think, especially when we go into business, we have this very specific vision. And sometimes that can be really great. Other times it can really block your view from other opportunities.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets, the podcast where we talk with successful career coaches on how they built their success and the hard lessons they learned along the way. My name is Davis Nguyen, and I'm the founder of Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, and even $100,000 weeks. Before Purple Circle, I've grown several 7- and 8-figure career coaching businesses myself, and have been a consultant at 2 career coaching businesses that are doing over $100 million each. Whether you're an established coach or building your practice for the first time, you'll discover the secrets to elevating your coaching business.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Career Coaching Secrets Podcast. I'm your host, Rexhen, and today's guest is Angela McKay, an intuitive mid-career coach and former HR executive who helps introspective high achievers revive their careers without starting over. As the founder of Angela McKay LLC, Angela blends practical strategy with soul-level clarity through her soul-led career method, guiding clients to align their 9-to-5 with their unique purpose. She's an ICF accredited PCC and SHRM SCP. She's coached leaders from individual contributors to C-suite via one-on-one programs, small group coaching, and workshops. And it's a pleasure for me to have her on the podcast today. Welcome to the show, Angela.
Thank you so much, Rexhen. It's really great to be here. I've been looking forward to it.
Thank you for coming. Yeah, it's a pleasure for me too. And wanted to ask you, when it comes to the beginning of your company, has been now almost closer to 5 years with your business. So I wanted to ask you, what inspired you to become a coach and then start your own coaching business?
Well, it started with a glimmer and then developed into a realization. I was with an organization for over 25 years. I resigned as their senior vice president of human resources when I went full-time into my business. But before that, there was a low point in my HR leadership career where I was just feeling pretty disconnected from the work. And so there's a few things that I did to kind of re-engage myself in the work. And one of them is now the free resource that I offer. I didn't know that's what I was creating then, but it was. A colleague of mine came to me and said, I know someone who's offering a free coaching session. Is that something that you would want? And I had this immediate twofold yes. It was one, I want a session with her, and two, I want to be her. So there was this like, ooh, what is she doing? What is coaching? I think, and in the work that I had been doing to reconnect to my work, I'd also discovered a very strong skill set in helping people to talk to themselves. So not having any expertise in what it is that they were going through, but rather just navigating that conversation for their own clarity. So I engaged in that coaching session. I signed on for a package with her. I started with, how do I develop further in my HR career? And within one session, I was asking, how do I become a coach? It was a really immediate shift. So I was working my full-time job while I was engaging in those coaching sessions, while I earned my coaching education, the certification. I implemented coaching programs into the organization. And it was a few years before I was able to say, you know what, I think it's time. Like I kept walking up to that decision, and it just came a time that it was more clear for me than it was before. And part of the reason is I wanted to be able to help people on a more holistic level than I could within the walls of the corporation. So when I say I used to be corporate, I still think that corporations are an incredible place for people to hold a job. We as humans, once we discover our purpose and engage it in our work, we thrive. So the more places we have that are employing people so they can engage their purpose, the better. But as far as the work that I do and the way that I do it and the kind of that mind, body, soul alignment and more of the intuitive work, that wouldn't have jived in the corporate walls. So I really wanted to expand to that. And that's when I went full time.
Mm-hmm. And right now, we mentioned this a little bit on the intro as well. When it comes to the people that you typically work with, if we were to describe an ideal client profile, how would you describe that? Is there some sort of an industry, demographic, psychographic? Do they have some common goals? Are they actually just staying within their careers, or are they pivoting? What does that look like?
I work mostly with women, so not exclusively. It's just who happens to be drawn into my world the most. The person that I'm working with is about mid-career. So they really have established their career. Their career is supporting their lifestyle. It looks really great on paper. They appear really successful. But there just comes a point in our evolution where we start to feel connected from what we're doing if we didn't evolve what we're doing with us. So they're just really at that point where it doesn't feel right. They feel like there must be something more, but they don't want to start over. They don't want to disrupt the lives that they've built. They're paying their mortgage. So to kind of fly off the handle and start something new with no stable income coming in just is kind of their nightmare. But the work that I do with them allows them to see that there's so much room between settling with what you have and quitting. There's a lot for us to explore. So I really just help to look at their career from a different lens so that we can approach it from an inside out way where it becomes more soul-led and made for them, meant for them. Because it has to do with what I was talking about earlier, where once we fully realize their purpose, which is really just this unique set of innate skills they have that are so subtle for them to see, but so impactful for the people around them. When you intentionally start integrating that into the work that you do, your work is more satisfying and fulfilling. So you were asking, like, are they pivoting? Are they staying where they are? So usually the end result is either they find a new appreciation for where it is that they are. They edit or alter the role that they're in or find another role within the organization. They move to another organization, or they start something new completely, but with a plan to do so. So the outcomes are many, but all of them are then within that inside out soul-led lens.
So it's not just then, in that case, it's not just career coaching, is actually goes deeper than that. And some people could actually go and start their own business if they wanted to, if that's what they find to be the right move, the next move for them.
Absolutely. And they can do so more safely. So for those folks who that is on their heart as something to do, but it's also really scary because you typically don't get to jump in that 2 feet in and be making money right away. There's some stuff that you have to figure out. It gives them like I said, the hope and the plan to do that more securely for themselves and their family.
Cool. And I did mention this on the intro as well. So there's one-on-one programs, there's small group coaching, there's workshops that you offer. For that group of audience that I mentioned earlier that could fit this ideal client profile, how would you describe them engaging with you or working with you in terms of like the programs or like the engagement?
Yeah. On the small group side, I don't have any current groups going on. I've done a few before, but it's not one of my current offerings. On the workshops, I try to participate in as many, especially virtual opportunities as I can, where I am leading a presentation or a workshop, because then I have the links to those to be able to send to folks to say like, okay, here's a little bit of what I do. Go ahead and try this out and see what it does for you. And then we're going to connect again to see what sparked, what insights you received. But I thrive on one coaching. I love forming deep one-on-one relationships with people. I don't do service level. I don't think I've ever been able to. So I've got a soul-led career, which is my foundational program, Career Catalyst, which is a very shortened 1-month intensive, or I have single sessions, which are either coaching or intuitive reading or a combination of both.
Mm-hmm. And just change the topic a little bit for the coaches who are listening, when it comes to marketing and finding these clients or with that finding you, what have you seen working very well marketing wise? Is there some marketing channels that you see working better than others for you, or is a mixture of a few channels?
It has to be a mixture. I wish I could say that I had one clear way that all the people come in, but I've really found that the best way for me is, well, don't be everywhere. Like really do focus your attention on what it is that feels good for you. So where do you feel good marketing? Is it on social? And if it's on social, is it Instagram? Is it Facebook? Is it LinkedIn? Like find what feels good for you. But otherwise, I feel like for coaches, especially getting into coaching, there's too much reliance on social. We really need to be social ourselves. So any opportunity that you have to be around other people, talking about what it is that you do and engaging them in that conversation, I feel that is the much more fruitful method for marketing, because they get to see your magic. They get to hear your magic. They really get to connect with you. They get to walk away with something that allows them to then in another conversation, when someone's talking about, in this instance, their career, they're like, you know what? I just talked to somebody. Do you want her name? All of that happens much more frequently when you have been out and speaking with people than a post that they saw. So it's kind of a mixture of all. There's a concept I heard about this morning. The way that they were talking about it is just like throwing your hat in the ring. So if there are places that you want to make sure that you are seen, just find the best way for you to be seen in those places, but don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Absolutely. And I ask you because I noticed that, for example, in LinkedIn, you're pretty active with posting and you're posting regularly. So I thought maybe LinkedIn could be one of the main ones. I guess probably is, but yeah. So where is your business going into the future for the next 1 to 3 years? Do you have any specific goals that you're working towards any business goals?
1 to 3 years. So the people that I work with and how I work with them is staying steady. I really am highly engaged in helping people to love the work that they do. I was raised in blue collar families, and the message was like, you don't love the work you do, you just do it so you can pay for your life. And I can't commit to that being true. We work far too many hours. We engage in work far too much for it to be written off like that. If you are someone who feels like your work can be impactful and that it can serve purpose, then by all means, you are someone who is meant to be doing work that is impactful and can serve a purpose in a way that you can see and you can feel. So helping people to really tune in to their own soul wisdom and let that call the shots in the actions that they take, I see that staying exactly the same. I am feeling a little bit more of a pull towards the intuitive side of the work that I do. So I am a highly skilled and professionally trained coach. I hold coaching as a top priority. However, my approach to coaching, there are some intuitive messaging resources that I like to integrate into the coaching that I do. And there is an offer that I'm working on now and I'll be coming out soon that allows me to lean much more into the intuitive side. So these next couple of years, I do see that part of my work blossoming a little bit more and taking a front seat in a way that perhaps it might not have before.
Is it still going to be like one-on-one coaching in this one?
Absolutely. Yeah. So what I'm working on, and I'm doing like an exclusive soft launch with it right now, but it'll be out for launch hopefully by November here. But it's called a soul reading. So I'm allowed to engage with a client in a way where I access their Akashic records, which is just like the spiritual library of you, so that I can get a better idea of their soul path, like their soul contract and their soul purpose, and then their current season of soul purpose. It allows us to both zoom out and zoom in at the same time. I can then read their energy centers as well to get a better idea of what is blocking them from really being on path and serving that soul purpose. It's going to serve as just a really great entry point for the work that I do with folks, because it just clicks some things into place before we do the deeper dive of where it is that they want to go. It allows us to kind of ensure that we're going the right way rather than some of the conditioned ways that you might come into that engagement otherwise.
What are some of the challenges that you're going through in like launching this offer or in general in your coaching business right now?
In launching this offer, I wouldn't say there's much. I've actually learned a lot about myself. I think entrepreneurship is one of the largest growth portals that you can put yourself through. And I've learned to not force certainty and to not operate under urgency. So if I'm feeling the need to be certain for someone other than myself, or if I'm feeling the need for something to be urgent, those are both signifiers for me that I need to back up. Nothing is really that urgent and I don't have to be certain for anything. So just allowing it the space to really come together step by step so that I feel really aligned with it when I'm putting it out. As far as, challenges in the coaching business or the coaching industry in general, it's a really easy industry to enter. And I think that throws people off because once they're in it, there's more challenge to it than they anticipated. They thought that they could put a few things out on social and people would see them and then they'd be filling their calendar up. And it's not that. So if coaches are coming into the industry and they do plan on working for themselves, I think they need to wrap their head around the fact really quickly that they're not just a coach, they're a business owner. And if you look at your work saying, all I want to do is coach and I don't want to do these other things, there's two different paths to that. Either one, you don't be a business owner because you're going to have many operations that you're going to look at other than coaching. Or it's how can you position yourself to be able to outsource any of those pieces that you don't like. So then what is your relationship with learning as much as you learn and outsourcing them? But I think that is a big challenge generally, is just that idea that I'm going to be a coach. Well, if you're going to be a coach and a business owner, you're going to be a business owner.
So
Right.
it's not actually making bread anymore.
Right. So it's like the coach and the baker, and there's so much relatability there. And we can see either two as the creative. So if you look at a business, there's a business structure and then there's the creative, and the business structure needs to support the creative. So it's like, what do you need to set up in your business to be able to support you as kind of the heartbeat of the business, so the baker can bake and the coach?
Yeah. Absolutely. And what are kind of like the areas you'd say you'd need most help with?
So far, I'm a one-woman show and it's going great. I've learned a lot. That's my personality type, though. Even if I were to outsource something, I want to learn it first. I want to understand how it functions. Being a leader before, there's a lot of merit to understanding what an employee is experiencing in their job. So if ever I were to outsource or to hire someone on, I want to make sure I have a full grasp of what it is that they're experiencing, because I've at least, navigated it once before. As far as like filling the calendar, I've also embraced, I think, especially when we go into business, we have this very specific vision. And sometimes that can be really great. Other times it can really block your view from other opportunities. So this year, I've really opened myself to other contract opportunities to be able to engage myself as a coach and to bring in income from different streams. And what that has allowed me to do is take the pressure off of that vision that I had. That's the hard part, is when you get into entrepreneurship, is that big dream that you had, it can really get weighed down then by the real life things that are going on. And you start looking at your business in the way of, I need you to provide for me. And it's like a super unhealthy relationship that can happen. So I found other ways to engage my business and me as a coach that takes some of that pressure off, so that I have more freedom to be that creative.
I've noticed that with other coaches as well that I've interviewed, where these contracts, basically working for a company, and you would not do marketing or sales, you would basically do coaching, which is what you most likely want to do anyway.
And like this soul reading that I'm coming out with now, the only reason that space was created for me to concentrate on that and really fine tune that skill and start creating that offer is because I was engaging in coaching for money in some other spaces. So it's interesting how people think that you're going off path by doing certain things, but it really allows you to be more on path than you were when you were having that stranglehold on your expectation before.
In terms of investments you've done so far in your coaching business, you can think about investments of time or money or both. What have been some good investments that you feel really good about, you either got a good return from or you learned a lot? And what have been some investments that you would have preferred to have avoided, if there's any bad investments as well?
Yeah. One flows into the other. So the best investment in time and money that I made was getting the ICF level education. So when I first started in my coaching practice, I already had a lot of skills from doing HR and just from my natural aptitude. So I wasn't going to go the ICF route at first. It was probably only half a year into my business that I decided, no, we're going to do that. And I'm so glad that I did. It made me a much better coach. So it's a sensitive topic in the coaching world as to whether you need to be certified or not. I know some outstanding coaches who are not, so I'm not saying you have to be. However, I know in my personal experience, the coaching that I did before being trained to that high of a degree and after was much different. You learn to separate yourself, your ego, your judgment, your perspective to a whole new level. You learn to hold space for a client in a way that you didn't know was possible. And it has these ripple effects in your life as well for how you relate to your children, your partner, your colleagues, everybody else. So I'm glad I did it. And I would recommend it to anyone coach, whether you get credentialed or not, that's a whole nother ballgame, but at least get the certified education for being a coach. It will make you better. So then I've had, as far as hiring coaches for myself, as a coach, I believe in coaching. So I have coaches for myself. The coach that I had, which is the one that I had that free session with initially, was ICF credentialed. She was an absolutely amazing coach for me. I made so much progress with her. There's another coach that I had used that was not ICF trained. I don't believe she had really gone through any formal coach training. And it ended up being like, it was good. I really loved her. But as far as my forward progress, we didn't see it as much because it kept lending more towards advice giving than actually holding space for me and my wisdom in the direction that I wanted to go. So even getting my coaching education, it's allowed me to better see who I would want to work with. The last I shouldn't have spent money on it was a content program. We can really get stuck in content. What's the best way and how should I write? And I do believe that you do need some content writing skills. But if you're engaging in a content writing program, understand what is enough and what is too much, because there's no magic formula. There's generally good advice. And then from that, you just have to take you and your personality and your voice and speaking to your customer and keep it there. There's really no magic format that anyone is going to show you that is going to allow you to be an overnight success.
Absolutely, because no one knows your audience as good as you do. And you know that because you've worked with them. You've kind of like figured out even what your audience is. And so it's something that they might have some process of finding your audience, but there's not going to be one magic program or content that's actually going to work for everybody. So that makes a lot of sense. And you also brought a good point when it comes to ICF, because this is something that I've discussed before as well. There's two ways to look at ICF in terms of ICF as an investment that coaches are making. If you're thinking about ICF as an investment that you basically are trying to get your certification in so that people see that you're certified, and that way you'll get more clients, that actually didn't work out that well. Not a lot of clients actually know about these certifications, so they are not necessarily going to ask you for it, or are not going to say, oh, because you're not PCC certified, or I'm not really sure about the credentials naming, but yeah, because you didn't have this certification from ICF, I'm not going to work with you. And usually they don't know about it. But if you're going in it for the training and for yourself to deliver better coaching, then it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So kind of there's a couple traps that happen when you think about getting certified and or credentialed. You're right. Like clients, they're never asking me for my credential. So if people think like I need it because of getting more clients, that's not the connection. Also, if they're thinking, I need it because I can't be good without it, there's probably some self-confidence and self-worth, like rooted things that need to be looked at. However, on the training side, the training for you as a coach, it's going to make you a better coach. You're going to get more clients because you are a better coach. Mm-hmm. The other side, getting the credential, depending on the pathways that you want to take, it opens up doorways that wouldn't be open to you otherwise. So there are, certain contracting or consultant-based coaching opportunities that are going to want that credential. So usually on the professional level, they're looking for it, but on the client level, they're never asking about it.
And also there's like a factor of community within ICF, I believe, is always helpful to, like, if you wanted to meet other coaches or connect with other coaches, which is always valuable for coaches. And it's usually not a competition between coaches, mostly like a collaboration. Oftentimes there's clients that are not, let's say, a good fit to work with you, but could be a good fit for someone else that you know of that you could recommend, and then they recommend someone else back to you. So it has worked out that way for many coaches. I don't know if that is the case with you, if you're connected with other coaches as well.
Absolutely. I have a big network of coaches because we can cross refer, but also it's this community you can tap into to kind of check your experience, and it's not competitive. So like if you're in a network and it feels competitive, I can't possibly share with them because that's not your network. And the more you open yourself up to those conversations and look at it less as competition and more as collaboration and support, you're just like raising the frequency at which you're operating from, and it's more likely to open opportunities for you, whereas the other is more likely to shut them down.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Angela. And my final question is actually about coaches again. And this is going to sound strange to ask a coach for advice, because usually coaches don't give advice. But what advice would you give to other coaches who are thinking of scaling their impact? So growing their company comes with it, or growing their revenue comes with it, but driven by impact initially in making change in people's life, touching more people with their coaching. Is there any advice you'd like to give to these coaches who want to scale that impact?
Absolutely. And I think the key word that you're talking about is impact. So this ties into the work that I do with the folks that I work with as well. You have to stay connected to the work. I watched a coach who scaled her business extraordinarily. It was quite incredible. And she became so disconnected from the work so quickly. So she hit where she wanted to be monetarily, but she was no longer running the business in a way that felt good for her. It wasn't filling her up anymore, which kind of put her between that rock and hard place, because you got the goal, right? You got what you wanted, but it really is a matter of continuing to, I don't want to sound cliche, but it's like, this is heart desire sort of thing. This is what is the work that makes me feel like I'm using my most natural skill set. It lights me up when I engage in it. I can see the impact for others. Others express the impact that they're feeling from the work that I do. The more that you allow yourself to follow that spark, that heart's desire line, the more impactful your work is going to be. So if you're scaling, just make sure that you don't do so, that you're really straying from who it is that you are and the work that it is you want to do and the way that you want that work to feel. Just really keep tapped into, does this feel good, what I'm doing?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Angela. And thanks so much for coming to our podcast today. For anyone who wants to connect with you or find you, they can go into LinkedIn and look up Angela McKay. They'll be able to find your profile, but they can also go, I believe, into the website, AngelaMcKayLLC.com, if that is the correct website, right?
It is. Yep. So LinkedIn, my website, and Instagram are the places that I'm most active.
Cool. And we'll put the website in the description as well so people can find it easily. Angela, it was a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you so much. A great conversation.
That's it for this episode of Career Coaching Secrets. If you enjoyed this conversation, you can subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to this episode to catch future episodes. This podcast was brought to you by Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, or even $100,000 weeks, all without burning out and making sure that you're making the impact and having the life that you want. To learn more about our community and how we can help you, visit joinpurplecircle.com.